you convert into data types, or column names and all the stuff, then they will be doing only data transformation from the raw data to some silver, like they do column names, data types. So it is one project. And from raw zone, from the silver, like the created zone to final zone, they do type 2 tables or fact table, or maybe combine multiple tables and from different sources. Then is another project. So the second team can import the first team, which is raw transformation data, DBT project, into their project. We will talk about that one. So yeah, you can build modules. Each team can have their own DBT project and their specific, and then yeah, you can build your hierarchy. And also, there is only one team that's only documentation, right? You can do that. So yeah, you can. Depends on how big is the project. Then final zone, like your type 2s or your fact tables can be done different. But you cannot bring, if it is a small project, you can bring everything in one DBT. But we will discuss that one, right? So I will be doing the same thing in my client project. So I will.
Did we lost him?
Seems.
Yes.
Okay, sorry guys. Yeah, Ram joining. Yeah. Yeah, Ram, joining. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah, sometimes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear.
Yes.
yeah. My internet is. Am I sharing?
Not it.
Yeah, good. The dev QA prod. Yeah, we'll discuss that one. Dev QA prod and how we configure and all that stuff. Okay. Um, again, with CI/CD integration, yeah, it will help. So the key is, what are your goals, right? This is important. Yeah, we will dive into our practice quickly, but what are your goals? Okay, or do you want to connect to Snowflake or Databricks, Cloudera, Dreamio, or hey, today we are doing Snowflake, but I want to switch over to Databricks tomorrow or maybe next month, because we are testing both. With the small changes in DBT, if you don't use specific Snowflake configurations like a cluster key or something, as long as you stay with standard ANSI, and if you don't use stages or something, then you can switch over between Snowflake to Databricks or Databricks to Snowflake or anything. Even Cloudera, Hive, you can switch over. So you need to. This is one of the advantages of DBT. And of course, you can manage separate schemas or separate projects. Okay, you have a raw project and then staging and fact, DIMS. They're all separate schemas in a database, or in a Snowflake. Doesn't matter whether you put it in one schema, separate schema. Depends on how you want to do RBAC, but it's one database, and it does not impact your performance. And then how do you manage your branch goal? And so you can have different project modules. And of course, type 2, you can easily standardize type 2, right? And you can do a lot of automation on this. Then more often, we have requirements to build pivot tables. That depends on same table. You want to build variety of pivot. You can dynamically build pivot tables, just passing column names and the pivoting tables versus horizontal columns, and we will practice that. Then C tables, right? Let's say I want to create empty tables, or I want to create a date table. I want to create a product information table. I want to load some testing. You can do that. With C table, we will look at that one. And of course, data transformation, right? I have staging data, but I want to convert my JSON to rows and columns. Let's say Kafka, they store data in a JSON format, but we want to convert the JSON. We need to flatten JSON into rows and columns. That's the cleansing, right? And so we can do that. Of course, the key is reusable code. Jinja allows you to relay usable code. Of course, the green, blue, this. Then the important thing is validations, right? You can do null checks and unique checks, and you can do data type checks, or you can do inventory. Let's say somebody bought like 5,000 items. Okay, is an alert. You can build an alerts. You can do freshness check. Hey, let's say your dashboard team requests, okay, is data is fresh. You can run one line code. Okay, DBT source freshness. Then immediately, whatever the tables you configured, when was that table being loaded, and you can find out. And then you can inform the DBT team that how old is your data is, or how fresh is. Then fact tables, right? Depends on your grain. Your fact grain. Let's say number of visits per user per day, or number of users per day, right? Depends on your fact. You can build incremental facts easily. Of course, then you can have a documentation lineage. Then when we come to Snowflake here, intentionally, because we're practicing on Snowflake, if you sign up for Snowflake, we have a 30-day account free, or even Databricks. Then in some scenarios, we use specifically transient tables. The reason is we don't want to increase the space of when you do a lot of inserts, updates, and deletes, then those are very temporary tables. We use a transient table. Make sure that it doesn't increase the space in the Snowflake. If you use a permanent table, if you insert updates and deletes, when you do that, it is impact your space, because they maintain the zero copy cloning time travel issues. Of course, documentation, CI/CD, and so the world is moving. All the SQL engineers are moving towards data as code. So one of our Snowflake presentation, I talked about web, right? I did publish, and now it is expanding further. Your SQL code, your everything in one place in Git, and when you push to the Git and when you do a pull request, and automatically it builds the you can connect the hooks saying that run my validation, run my code coverage, run my freshness, and you can do all the things along with the CI/CD. Of course, modularization, and you can build small modules and you can group together. It's another DBT project can import another DBT project. So you have your DBT project can import a lot of the other DBT projects. It's not like you're importing Python code. A simple SQL DBT project. Okay. So we talked about. So last week we told install. So even though I put one, the reason I put here is sometimes you want to install various. Let's say you are in production, it 1.10 release, but now the latest is 1.3. But in dev you might be testing 1.3, right? Then here also I put environments. So if you have a DBT embody or DBT or whatever name, so in each virtual environment, you can have in your laptop, you can have different versions of this DBT or different configurations. Now, if you delete this one, a virtual environment, whatever setup you have is gone. So this way, then you are not tinkering your base system. So I have, DBT embody, DBT dev, DBT test. Hey, someone put a mute, please. So you can do that. So with DBT, right? Sorry, with environment setup. This is common Python way of doing it. Okay, and we went to this one quickly. So now let's talk about profiles. This is where one of the questions, okay, my dev, my prod, and all the stuff. Let's get into when you install DBT, right? Or sorry, first of all, when you install DBT libraries, automatically it creates a directory called .dbt. Okay, and you don't have to use it, but it's easy to use .dbt. And then when you cd to .dbt, even Windows also same thing, or Unix .dbt, even in the cloud also. Then when you go there, it creates a file called profiles. Look at the word profiles, not profile. Then when you open the profile, right, you can configure different database connections. Okay, you can do a Snowflake, or you can do all whatever database providers you are using, Snowflake, Databricks, and Dremio, Cloudera, whatever, you can configure here. Now, while you are configuring, so I want to walk through some of the things. So your project name, right? For example, my project name is Ambari Test. Okay, so right now let's go to here. My project name is Ambari Test. Your project name, then another project Ambari DBT Training, another project name is Facts, another project name is Elementary. So you can do that. Oh, hold on, Srikant. So you can configure, right? You can configure your your connections to your database. Now here I hard-coded my password, but when you are configuring, it will ask you what kind of. I mean, you can get a password from a vault. Then another thing is, it ask the role, but I'm using for easiness for account admin, but you will not be using account admin. You will be creating a DBT role, which has other permissions and all that stuff. Then, what is, you have to have a one base database. You can use other databases later, but you have to have a database. Then you have to have one schema, some schema name. Then you have to have a virtual warehouse, and of course user ID, password, and then type is Snowflake. But now if the type is Databricks, you have to use Databricks credentials. If it is a BigQuery, you have to use BigQuery. If it is a Cloudera, you have to use the Cloudera credentials. Now, then another thing is, look at this one, dev, right? and then did I have, okay, I did not put, now let's go here. I walk through, what does that mean? Let's say my project name is Ambari test, right? That means my DBT project name is Ambari test. When I'm executing my DBT project, right? So I'll look at here. I'm executing my DBT project. So this project goes to the profile table, so profile YAML file. Okay, give me the configuration for an Ambari test. Okay, now it goes to the config file. You can use the config file path, or it goes to .dbt directory. Then look, give me the Ambari test profile. Then it looks for here. Okay. Then look at this one here, target dev. What does that mean is, if we don't specify, right, the target configuration, and it goes automatically to whatever the dev configuration is. Now, I'm repeating, your project, Ambari test, right? When you are executing Ambari test, it goes to the profile, Ambari test. Then if you don't specify any additional configuration, it goes to the default dev. Now, let's go to very quickly here, what I will want to show here. So I'm going to add, okay, we tested in dev, then I'm going to add production configuration. Again, same project, because we're not changing the project name. But here I'm going to put prod. Okay. So whenever you execute your DBT project, it automatically executes only dev. However, when you execute the Ambari test DBT project, you can say target is prod. Then it executes on the prod environment. Okay, so we don't want to change the name, because the same project name moving from dev to QA to prod and through CI/CD in Git. So what will happen is, when you are executing the same project in QA testing, then you will use -target and prod, or QA for QA, and in prod you will run this prod. I will show that one. So remember this one. So the target dev is saying that if we don't specify any additional configuration when you are executing Ambari test project, then it uses this one. Similarly here, when you're executing Ambari training project, right, it will use this one. When you are executing facts, the reason I will show that one later. The facts is another module. I'm importing that facts a module into Ambari test later, then we will show. So when you are executing the facts, it goes to this one here. So this is how it works on the profiles. Okay, so let's go to what are the questions. Srikanth Reddy. Srikanth Reddy, you raised your hand. Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Pushpa, go ahead.
Hey, hi, Satya. I was wondering, like, you did mention the two environments here, like dev and prod for the same project. But when I want to execute the code in the prod environment, what exactly you execute to pick up that only the prod configuration? Because right now when I execute, it is picking up only dev, right? So I want to execute in the prod. What exactly? Like, do we mention somewhere that it should pick up the prod? Like that.
I will show that the whatever Airflow or scheduler executing the DBT project, we will add the --target prod. Right. I will show that one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Rajesh.
Hey, Satya. So I have a question on the DBT docs generate. Okay.
No, hold on.
The files it's generating, right?
We're not there yet. We're not there at the DBT docs yet. Okay. Next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
So we are making some halwa or gulab jam, right? We just bought a flour and sugar and other things. So you are talking about the final eating gulab jam. So we'll wait for that. Okay. Next.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So The key is profiles. That I want to make sure don't get confused on when you are dealing with the profiles. And so yeah, generally you have this profile you configure, and then depends on your type, like Snowflake type. Look at this is the key. Then another thing is I want to insist, when you are doing on a MacBook, for example, I have not tested this in Windows. To make sure that threads value equal to 1. I spend hours and hours to find there is a bug. Then there's no clarity somewhere. Finally, I was able to, almost 3-4 hours later, I was like ripping off the whole 9 yards, and then finally somewhere a small one line, use thread 1. So basically what the threads is, it allows you parallel processing and all. So you can, but don't worry if you're using cloud. Okay. Yeah, Naga, go ahead.
Should the threads be the same as the default setting in Snowflake?
No,
Okay.
you can have thread. Yeah, this is not about Snow. How DBT want to run in parallel processing in our target database. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So next project, right? So yes, of course, in organization, different projects available, and then you define your project configuration, and then let's walk through this one. Let's say when you create first project, you clone from existing one, or then DBT in it, and so it will create. You have to have a project file. In the project file, and of course, the name of the project. But here, this is where you are telling for this project, what is the profile you want to use? Okay. Generally, what I observe is the project name, profile name, they use same, but you don't have to use, right? So project name is just for for executing things, all the stuff. But this project, which profile you want to connect, right? Now you can switch over while you're testing it, you can modify it and all that stuff. Then next thing is this is the they have a model path, analysis path, test path, seed path, right? And then you need to tell, okay, hey, all my models in the model directory. Look at here, my models directory. Now you can say model path equal to my models. You can do that. You can modify. Generally, I would not suggest change any of these, right? So the models under model directory, analysis under analysis directory, right? Analysis directory, then tests under test directory, right? Macros under macros, and snapshots under snapshot. This is how, say, basically we are telling to the DBT, hey, this is my path locations. So keep it as it is, right? If you want to test it, right, then change this one, different directories and all that stuff, you can do that. Then another thing is target path. Where do you want, right? Look at here, target path here. When you compile code, right? DBT run, DBT compile, DBT build, it converts our code into actual SQL behind the scene. And where do you want to have that directory? You can change this one also, right? But don't do that. Then we do clean, right? When you do run the clean, what directories you want to clean, right? Preferably only 2 directories. One is a target directory, another one is DBT packages directory. We'll walk through the DBT packages later. So when you do run DBT clean, if you put a model directory here, all your code is gone. So don't put your models, any of these directories here. Only, if there is another directory for, let's say you have a gen directory, or you want to clean it up and all the stuff, which is fine, but don't put any of these directories here. Okay. So next, what is the question? Go ahead, Jaswant.
So if we clean the target directory, wouldn't we lose the data?
No, there is, okay. No, in DBT, can you mute it? In DBT, no data, right? DBT is think about your SQL file executing in server. So when you lost your SQL file, you're not losing data, right? Same thing, DBT is bunch of SQL files executing in your database. So when you lose your DBT project, right, or when you lose your any of these, you're not losing any data, right? This is a tool, SQL tool, .SQL files. Eventually, they will be executed in your database. So you're not losing anything. Okay. Yeah, Koti, go ahead.
Yeah, when we say target in that clean, you said that all the final code will be residing in the target, right? If it cleans away, then how can we get that cleaned data?
No,
What
when you are testing and you're practicing, when you're building the code, you run the clean, right? But in the final deployment, you're not running the clean. So you run the clean only when you're testing your code or cleaning up things, right? So once you cooked it, right, you're gonna serve it, right? But while you're cooking, you're gonna clean it, right?
Okay.
So that's what the purpose of it. So once you deploy the code, and when you say run, it's going to rebuild the code again. Okay. So yeah, every time when you deploy it, then every time when you execute it, DBT doesn't know what changes happen. It's going to compile the code and deploys the code and executes it. So clean is only meant for while you're practicing things. Okay. Pushpa, go ahead.
Is it, I'm seeing this target and DBT packages that have been cleaned. Is it like a standard practice that people just clean these two directories but not logs from the DBT?
Yeah, I mean logs don't clean it because that is where you see what are the errors, right? Generally, I don't see logs clean, but eventually in the logs, right? You will see log legacy, and then there is
right.
a procedure.
Yes.
You can clean up the logs, old logs, but yeah, generally don't delete the logs. Let's say you deploy and you execute the code in production, then you ran it, and then you want to see some issues, then you go to the log. So don't run the. But during the development process, yeah, you can put the logs directory, right? But generally, what I've seen, I had exactly the same question. Then, hey, go and delete logs from manually here, right? Delete the logs while you're testing it. So, yeah. So, yeah.
Why I'm asking this, because that we have this probably like a Git repository where we are having this development code, and we want to subsequently push it to the other branches until the main branch. But then there is no point of bringing the logs from one environment to another, right?
Yeah.
That's
so you need to keep logs in each environment for some period of time. Then after that, you need to do manual cleanup. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Satya.
Okay. And so now let's come to we hold on these variables later. Very quickly in variables. Okay, let's say you can define your variables, saying that what is your filter conditions, or what is max limits, or what is it. There are a lot of based on your project, but hold on that track. Now look at snapshots, and when you build snapshots, okay, now if we don't define schema, right, and additional things, all in all, right, everything is deployed in your profile schema and database. Whatever profile schema you define, this is a stage, everything will build there. Okay, but you can configure in such a way saying that, hey, I want my a snapshot. Remember, a snapshot is not a model. Okay, snapshot is a different type of a model. So what is a model? Model is nothing but a select statement in a SQL file. Okay, before we go further, a model is nothing but let's go to my fact table. A model is nothing but actually this is easy. Okay, let's go to mods. Yeah, a model is nothing but a SQL file. Okay, look at here. I have a common table expression here. Select star from. We'll talk about this one later. Select star from order table. Select star from here. Then I'm going to join those two tables, and finally. So this is a simple select statement we write in our code in .SQL file or in the stored procedure. What we are doing is Okay, I have a table here. I have a table here. I am joining and then getting my find. So now country_orders.sql is a model file. What does that mean is when you compile this code in, right, then what it will create, it creates a country_orders table. So a model file name is a table name. So that's what we call models. So whatever the SQLs you write, look at the dim parts here, right? Simple. And suppliers, and then my select star from this table where ID equal to 1. Whatever the SQLs you write in a file, it call a model file. However, on a snapshot, right? We need to specify differently. So here, look at the models, okay? And then I have a model. Before go to snapshot, let's go to the models. That's easy to. Let's go to the models, okay? And models, right? I have an example directory, okay? Look at the example directory here. This is where little bit confusion about DBT, and that's why I want to focus more here. I can have a number of directories. Look at this one here. Under models, I have example directory, facts directory, marks directory, and monitor directory, pivot, staging, and an intermediary. You can have a variety of directories. Now, for example directory, because I'm doing some testing and all that stuff, right? I want whatever the files, which means whatever the tables I want to create, I'm creating 2 tables. I want to create them as a views, and I want to create them in the example schema. Okay, I'm not defining the database here because I'm now. So what it does is it goes to my profile. Of course, I already logged into through my profile. Then in my profile, and then database is, what is my database name? Ambari DB, right? And of course, even when I connected, you connected to stage schema. But when I'm deploying my code for if I execute only example models, then these 2 tables will be created in example schema. And then these 2 tables, actually not tables, they are views, right? So materialization, they call materialization. So now the question here is, do you want to create a permanent table? Do you want to create a view, or do you want to create a transient table? This depends on your requirements. Some tables you don't want to create them as a permanent table. Views are fine, right? For testing, or some fact tables, views are fine. There are tiny fact tables. You don't want to create a table. You create as a view, so you can do that. And then I want them. So look at I have a lot of models, right? I don't want all my table. Let's say I have 100 tables. I don't want all 100 tables in one schema. I want them in different schema. I want my March has his own tables. My DIMS has my own tables. My staging has own tables. Now I want to run my Snowflake spin. It has its own tables in one schema, right? And then my facts. Look at this, my facts. Right now I told my facts. I did not define the schema. That means my facts going to staging, because this is my stage database. But if I don't define my schema, then it goes to the default schema, which is defined in profile file. But if I define the schema, then it goes to the particular schema here. Then not only that, I can I can tell that the tables type and all the stuff. Okay. Well, somebody had a question. Ram, go ahead.
Such a 2 parts to the question. One is that why we need these models in the profile, the YAML file, number 1. And second one, if I have multiple objects, right? I can have some objects as tables, some objects as views, some as materialized views. So do I need to define like all 3 model, all the 3 object types? What is the purpose?
Yeah, hierarchy. Okay. So if I don't define, I don't have to have all these things. Okay. And then automatically all my tables are deployed in my staging schema. Number 1. Okay. I don't have to define anything. Everything goes to my staging schema. But I want to more modular, more cleaner way to build my data marts. Then what we are saying is, oh, example, if I don't define example, then it goes to the default stage schema, right? But I don't want my stage schema as all the junk, right? Then I'm saying that any tables in the examples model, example directory, they're going to go to example schema and then views. Now, this is a global level. Then when I go to individual, look at here in the okay. So let's go to the, what I said is view, right? But when I go to individual table, oh, I'm going to overwrite it as a table. I want as a table. You can do that. And also I can override schema. So here, if I don't define individual model level, right? I'm telling my project, hey, all the files in the example model directory, go and create in this example schema and view. But then let's say you have 100 file. In the example, you have 100 models. Think about 100 tables. Models and tables are synonyms. And you want 98 of them as views, only 2 as tables, right? So you don't want to create this line of code. We'll come back here later. In 98 files, or create them as view, create them views.
Hello, Satya.
I think we lost him again. Ram, can you call him? You are the only person with his.
No. He knows actually. Yeah, I tried to call him earlier. No worries. He'll be trying to join us.
Yeah, sorry, I'm here.
Yeah. Satya, so if I understand correctly, that it is only a defaulting mechanism. It's not the restrictions limitation, but it's a defaulting. If you don't, you can still override. You can still create.
Yeah, the project is a default mechanism, right? And then you can override whatever you want to do when you go to the individual file model level.
Got it. So if you don't specify anything, it'll take the default as view and it'll create the object as view.
Yes. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Then let's come to here, right? No, hold on 1 second. Now, and on the entire project level, I can define. Look at here. I did not define on the project level. I'm defining on individual model level, but I can also define on the project level, right? So, okay, if for example, there is a directory called pivot, right? I haven't defined yet, but I can tell in the project level all files, all models which is not defined individually, they are views. I can do that. Okay, so I can add saying that everything is view, right? Then I can get rid of this. Then, but it's saying, oh, okay, I'm going to everything on the example is a view. But at the same time, then so at the project, this is a project level, this is a directory level, which is a model level, and this is individual model level. So I can hierarchy. I can go to that pecking order. Make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So who has other question?
Yeah. So instead of defining it as a views here, since our code is anyways .SQL files, why can't we write it as a view in the SQL itself, like create view and whatever your transformation is?
No, that's what I'm saying, right? Modularization. Can you put a mute? Code, and we don't want to write. I don't know. Create view, right? Here, if you look at here, today it's view, right? But tomorrow, let's say it's massive table, and all of a sudden, then all I have to do is just get rid of this line, or I can change this one as table. That's it. Then I'm rebuild and recompile. Then in the next run, automatically this becoming a table. So I don't have to use the keyword create view, create table, create transient, create. I don't know all those keywords. Let the DBT figure it out. Or as I said, right, today's view, but tomorrow, hey, we see a performance problem because of view. Then I will come back and I will change to table here. That's it. Almost. Or I can, let's say I can add this one. Let's initially maybe it's a view, but later I can come back and table, and I can do transient. I can do things whichever I want. So modularize the code, right? Don't use keywords, views, and so like that. So let the DBT figure it out, right? Customize it whichever way you want. Okay, go ahead. Somebody, Manoj, you had a question?
Is it something like if views are not available, the views will be created automatically in the target system?
Yes, yeah, right. Let's go to here. Let's, for example, my stage, right? And look at this one. My stage has the tables, right? Then where is my look at this one. My second DBT model. Okay, now let's go to here. My second DBT model, right? I have not defined anything here, but on the project level, let's remove these guys for now. On the project level, right? Anything under example directory is a view, right? Initially, okay, let's go to view, right? View. Then when I compile it, before I compiling, I'm saying that DBT first is table, and DBT second, I did not define anything. That means it is inheriting from the project. Now let's go to here. Okay, DBT, my second DBT model is a view, right? But when I go to here, my first DBT model is a table. Look at here, table, okay, and so it's a stage schema. Under stage schema, then I have a tables. Then my first DBT model is a table, but even though on the project level I said there's a view, but then I overwrote it in the individual model file. But when I come to here, the second DBT model, it automatically created as a view. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you execute this, right, we'll walk through that one. We'll practice, right? But I want to just understand. This is the initial confusion. Once you cross this initial confusion, things will be easy. That's basically your writing. Now here, yeah, if you define schema, look at this one. When I was defining my example, I did not define my schema here. Okay, I told it's views. Sorry, right now I defined, because in my previous release I have not defined. So you can define schema. If I don't define schema, right, it goes to the default stage. If you define schema, then it goes to marks. Now let's go to here. If you look at here, I have marks, right? In the marks, if you see my the country order, dim parts, dim supplier. Let's go to the marks. Okay, country order, dim part, dim supplier. So these three, we went to the marks. Now if I remove this one, then it goes to the stage schema, which is default schema. Okay, now don't get confused with plus. This is new style, they're adding it, but you don't have to add a plus, by the way, just let you know. Questions before we are moving on. Like, look at this one, I added a plus one here. So it's a new style of coding, YAML style, but ignore the plus, you don't have to. Okay, so your profile, next is your project, next is your file. You can overwrite it, things. That's how. So a files in a directory called models, which is nothing but a tables, and then you can define. Next, let's go to our project directory before we go. Okay, snapshots, because snapshots are a little bit different because they're type 2s and all that stuff. Then we know we will keep under a separate directory here. Next is seeds. Seeds are like hey, I have some CSV data, country codes, for example. I want to load my country codes through a text file, CSV file. Then I can define as a seed. Or I want to create an empty table. Then I can define from the seeds. Now let's click on the seeds here. Okay. I have a event seeds and country code seeds, raw order seeds, and then so let's say Snowflake contract, right? Now let's say I want Snowflake contract rates. Okay, of course you have to have a header line, column header, and then your values, the comma delimited values. Then stays customer. So here what I'm doing is I want to create empty tables. I don't want to load some data. I can load the data. For example, here when it executes, it creates a table called snowflake underscore contract underscore rates table with this data. Let's go here quickly, and where is my seeds? Okay, look at here, snowflake contract rates. Or from, right? Okay, it has one row, right? But if you take events, let's go to events. Right? It's just an empty table. So using seeds, right, you can create an empty table, or you can load data based on whatever values you loaded. Okay, question. What was the question? Yeah, go ahead, Praveen.
Yes. Yeah, Satya. While loading seed data into any target thing, right? How can we control this about this schema? It will automatically detect, or it will.
Yes, coming in. Okay, yeah, good. Now I'm almost coming in. Okay, now, so let's take about let's take about country code, and then country code name header, right? Now the question is going to create a table called country code. Okay, then let's go to event table, right? Event table has event at and user ID. Let's go to the event table, and I want to create an event table, which is a empty table. Let's click on the events, right? Now look at the event is date and number, right? I have not defined the date and number here. If I don't define anything somewhere, right, it automatically creates string values, right? Because it doesn't know the schema. Now let's go to, this is where next step is. There is a file called properties. Okay, now you can have call these underscore, remove the word underscore. You can call Bob Jones, XYZ, ABC, doesn't matter. In this directory, I create another file, another YAML file. Look at this one. These are CSV files. In Seeds, you are not supposed to create a .SQL file. You create a .CSV file, right? Then in the properties file, right? So look at this one, Seeds. My table name, country code. Okay. Now, hey, I want to run my seed. Now I have a my seed, my seed file, right? Saying that this is my my columns, right? But when in the properties file, right, I want to define the data types. Now look at one more thing is, now in my project file, I told my seeds is going to be in the raw schema. But in the properties file, I can overwrite it. So right now, ignore that one. But my question is, the Praveen question is, where is my data types? Now here, okay, my column types in my seed file has a country code. I want to use string. Country name, I want to use string. Now look at this one, raw orders, right? Let's go to the events. Okay, in the events, right? Then I want to create, of course, schema, but I don't have to define the schema because I already defined the schema in my project file. But just for discussion point or easy to see visibility point of view, or maybe code reuse manageability, I added this schema here. No need to. If you add, of course, it will take whatever whatever the schema you defined, then it creates. Now let's say if you change this one to ABC, then it goes to ABC schema. It overrides your default schema. Now here I define my data types. Now not only that, right? Now look at this one. Now we are talking about YAML file dash, right? So what means if a keyword in YAML file has a multi-value, then you put a dash like this. Okay, so this means under seeds, right, you have a country code, raw order, right? Description, then events table, like that. So name is a multi-value. Now, then look at another thing is I added one more thing, description and the table level. Okay. And then you can add a descriptions. We will come back. So this is where the documentation starts. That means you can build, right, the entire documentation in one place. Historically, what we do, we put our documentation in Confluence space. No, no more Confluence space. Or you're going to put your documentation while you are creating the table as a comment. No more. You don't need to do everything in DBT. So the entire SQL projects, everything in DBT, you have all entire column level documentation. Now here I can here columns. Okay, I can add the columns and then add the documentation. We'll walk through the documentation later. So you can, so in this, let's focus only on the seeds. Seeds for to load, to create an empty table. Okay, can I create an empty table in another way? Yes, but right now to follow. And the seeds to load static data, and you can define schema. That means data types. Then you can schema. Okay, I'm coming into database schema, column schema, column data types, then description of the columns. Then we will talk about the test criteria. Okay, while I'm loading, my ID value be unique, right? We can talk about those things. Okay, let's go to questions.
Yeah, Satya, one question here, like suppose in this case, we are using Ambari DB and raw and data marts, right? Those schema and database need to pre-exist in the Snowflake before running?
Whatever you define in the profile, they have to be existed.
Okay.
I'm reiterating the word. Whatever you have in the profile, they have to be there. So that means Ambari DB sales or stage is enough. But rest, they will create automatically, dynamically. As long as the DBT user who executing has the permission to create schemas.
Okay, even marts and all other schemas.
Everything is, yeah. So,
okay.
So let's go to here, and I'm going to, okay, I'm going to drop the databases anyhow until we review. Okay, sorry. Jashwant, go ahead. Have a question? Jashwant, do you have a question?
No, I did not raise my hand.
Okay, good. Cody, did I answer your question?
No, Satya. You said this is a static data, right? Dynamically, if you want to change or if you want to add data to the seeds, like any CSV files or tables, how to do that?
No, not in the DBT. DBT is not a extract, the extract tool, right? The DBT is whatever you have it. Now, if you want to add data dynamically, right? Yeah, then you add it into your S3 or ADLS. From there, you inject into your stage table, run the DBT transformation.
Oh, do we need to do manually?
What do you mean manually, right? No, let's say you want to add a new date, right?
Yes.
In your dim dates, right? You can do multiple ways. Okay, add that line in your CSV file, run the seed again, or go and run manually somewhere. Yeah, nothing. Right. Yeah, you have to add into the seed file, rerun the seed file, right? Or write into a put that file in your S3, copy from S3 into your DBT dates file, whichever. Yeah.
Okay. And also one more thing, like you are saying two versions, like on-premises and the cloud, right? Which would you suggest us to practice for the DBT?
On-premise, at the end of the day, it's the same, right? Same command, same thing, same chicken. One is chicken 65, one is chili chicken, right? Both are same, right? No difference, same chicken, right? You don't see much difference. Okay, But since it is free, we're going to practice CLI. But when you go to cloud, exactly same commands, no difference. Only they give an SGUI screen. Okay.
Oh.
Presentation is different. Okay. Okay. So so important project file, right? And when you create a project, they create the template automatically. But if you have a snapshots, you add a snapshot directory. If you have a seeds, you add the seed directory. Now, of course, then you're going to define your project name. And then models, right? You can tell in the global level all tables are views, right? I'm going to remove for now. Then we can overwrite it on each model level, or you can for model directory level. Then after that, you're gonna modify individual file level. Okay, and then also you can overwrite the schema, and you can walk through that. Then that's what initially. Let's go with that part. Any questions before moving on? Now, next is I want to go. So you create in the seeds, we create a properties directory. Now look at this one. They're following a little bit coding standards, or so any YAML files, start with underscore. Again, it is not a golden rule. You can start anything you want. So that's fine. That's the C directory. C directory is meant for. Okay, so now let's walk through. I'm going to delete. Okay, my Ambari. I'm going to drop my Ambari database there. Okay. So I don't have any Ambari database. Okay, I'm going to create a Ambari DB. Okay. Okay, I'm going to create a schema. What is my schema is? Okay. Yeah, I don't need a schema. I think the schema will create automatically. We'll try. Okay. Create a schema. What is my schema name? Let's create a schema stage. Okay, use Ambari DB. Okay. And create schema stage. Refresh. Now I have Ambari DB in this case. Nothing is there, right? And now let's run the seeds. Okay, let's go to our documentation somewhere. Before I want to make sure that we'll walk through. Okay, let's see it. Okay, it's a CSV file in the seeds folder. Best suited for static data which changes infrequently, of course. And add a CSV file, and of course run the DBT seed command. And now let's go to run the DBT seed command. Okay, and so here, if you see right now, I'm using this environment, the Conda environment. That's why then all my changes are isolated. Now I go to my directory, my project directory, ls-l. Okay, before we do right, DBT init. Okay. So what it walks through you to create a table. Let's say call Ambari new project. Okay. Okay. Then it will ask you, okay, which database would you like to connect? Right now, I installed only Snowflake connector. But if you have other, just pip install DBT Databricks, pip install DBT, BigQuery, and all the stuff like that. So right now, okay, one. Then it will. Then since it's a Snowflake, it's going to ask me my Snowflake location. So what is my Snowflake location? Is my Snowflake account. I'm going to create my Snowflake account. Then my username is Skondapa. Okay. Then look at this one here. It was asking, are you going to connect your Snowflake using password, key pair, SSO? Then I'm going to use one. Then my password is. Okay. I have my database is. Then my role, of course, right now I'm going to use account admin, but generally your DBA will create an admin, some role. I already documented that one. We can look at that one. Then you have to have a warehouse or some engine to execute. Okay. compute WH, the case doesn't matter. And what is the database, default database you're going to connect? Okay. If you don't have this default database to connect, it will not connect. Your DBT project will not connect. And what is the default schema you want to connect? Then what I'm going to call as my stage. Okay. Then how many threads? Okay, I'm going to go with one thread. Now let's go to here and so good. We had profile. Now look at this one. It created a profile for me. Now let's go here and now it's going to it creates this directory. Okay. Sorry, what is my project name? Yeah, this is my project name. CD. So it's going to create a template for us. This is how, or you can just copy from our previous project and yeah, you don't have to do. But DBT init, when you do DBT init, it walks through all the steps to create the profiles and everything. Okay. Any questions on the creating a project?
Are these database and schema mandatory things or optional?
No, as I said, right, the DBT you want to test and connect, and first time you have to have a connection. Otherwise, where do you want to connect your DBT first? You cannot connect to an account and do things. So the DBT requires a minimum profile.
Okay.
Yeah. So again,
and one more question is, in seeds, can we place JSON files as well or only CSV files?
In feeds, can we place JSON files, CSV also, right? Yes or no, right? I don't want to answer that one right now. If you add a JSON, right, then you have to write the additional transformation. But right now, hold on that. Okay, I will explain that one. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Because I haven't seen how the DBT is used, right? If the connection you're defining only for Snowflake, this is enough for seeds, right? To run the CSV files. The source is there, the target is Snowflake. Instead of that, if I want to use DBT from my local Oracle database to Snowflake,
DBT is not an extract tool. DBT is only transformation tool, the T tool. DBT do not extract data from your Oracle to Snowflake, your Redshift to Snowflake, or your Kafka. No, those are separate tools. Kafka is writing into your Snowflake, then Kafka converts a speaker. Class starts at 8 o'clock. Okay. So DBT is not an extract tool. Okay. DBT assumes you have data in Snowflake.
So, okay, got it. So yeah, I think you mentioned in the first class it didn't sink in
Yeah,
yet.
DBT is not extract tool, right? If DBT does everything, maybe in the future, we don't know yet, but right now DBT is only T tool. DBT does not in the business of extracting. DBT is not in the business of Kafka, right? DBT, they are not in the business of Golden Gate extracting data, loading into tables. They are only transforming.
Got it. In this case, in the warehouses, right, mostly the data undergoes like one of the roll-ups, slicing, dicing, those kind of things, right? So
right. DBT is a transformation, right? You have let's say my Kafka is writing into a staging table where it writes in the JSON, right? But I want to read the data and then load into my fact table. Of course, while reading, I want to read only most recent data, what since last time I read. So those are the transformations our DBT will does.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Funny, go ahead.
Yeah.
Can we do this configuration directly in the DBT? What you showed, Satya?
Which configuration?
The project creation and everything which you did
that's
from
what
the
we
command line.
The DBT init, right? Or Or you right now I have this project, right? Let's say CD, right? I have this project Ambari test project. Then I can copy Ambari test project to another project, and then I can have my template. So DBT doesn't care how you create the projects, and then they're also providing an initial template. But you just copy the previous project, then DBT is bunch of files. That's about it. Pushpa, go ahead.
Thank you.
Satya, I saw that when you did DBT in it and only the Snowflake option came in, I was wondering like how the different options came in, right? Like BigQuery or Databricks. Like, did you install some other packages as well in your system? I might have just missed that one if I already explained.
Okay, give me 1 second. Yeah, here I excluded DBT Postgres, DBT Redshift, DBT BigQuery. I removed it for while I'm testing it. Like if you look at here, right, in this example, I installed BigQuery. So when I do DBT version, then you will see what plugins you have. Plugins are available installed. But right now I installed only Snowflake. Then yeah, then there is a Redshift, BigQuery, Databricks, DBT Databricks, DBT Dreamio. There's almost 18 plugins are available. Yeah. So when you do DBT init, then they will ask you, okay, hey, which plugin? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They will ask you which plugin to want to build your profile. Again, the DBT init is nice to have, but then you don't need to. You can create everything manually. Generally, once you've done one project, or you get somebody's Git project and then copy and then you're gonna build it manually. Yeah, no need to.
Yeah.
So DBT is nice to have, but more often you somebody already set up the project from Git and then you copy it and all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Praveen, go ahead.
Yeah, Satya, I have one live scenario like after transformations, as soon as the data is going to share with the end users, right? In that scenario, we can use seed. That means we can build one mapping table.
DBT doesn't care whether the other end users have access or not. DBT cares. Hey, I'm the DBT. Hold on. I'm the DBT. I load the data. That's it. End of the story. DBT. Then end users, right, will have access or not. Then whatever the RBAC on the table for the end user. Think about DBT is another Bob Jones loading the data for you.
Yeah, my thing is after transforming all the models, the targeted thing is all the Snowflake objects will come into the targeted database, right? Tables and views. Yes. Once the DBT run of transformations is over, after that, as soon as possible, as soon as they want to share the data with the end users, right?
When the table is there, then
which table is required? Mapping table required.
What is a mapping table?
As a developer, we can build the seed files, CSV files, whatever the models we are going to suppose to share, which share. Suppose user one, share one will be created. We can add in the CSV.
Not get into shares right now, right? Okay, that is the DBT doesn't care what you do in Snowflake. Okay, DBT says, hey, you said to the DBT user, hey, create a country code table. That's the end of the story. Now the country code table is there in Snowflake, and what that DBT, the country code table need to get, who need to get access and what and which share, and that's within the domain of DBT administration. Sorry, within the domain of Snowflake administration. That's it, right? I'm a DBT user. I created a customer code table. I loaded the data. That's my job. I'm done. Now you are the admin of the Snowflake. Okay, do you want to give it to the RAM, or do you want to give it the access to Satya, or do you want to share it to another reader or consumer, whichever? That's DBT doesn't care. DBT is, think about a data loader, data transformer, right? Think about me writing SQLs. I log into Snowflake as a DBT user. I'm executing bunch of SQLs, bunch of transformations, bunch of loads. I'm done. I logged out. That's what the DBT does. Nothing more than. Think about DBT. You are DBT. Think about you. Remove the word DBT. Let's say DBT created bunch of SQLs and I gave it to you. I did not tell you that this is DBT SQL. You have a big, gigantic .SQL file. You are executing it. You're done. That's what the DBT does. Okay, go ahead, Srisi.
Yeah, hi Satya. I have a question. So in this one, we see that whatever the raw tables which are like already existing, so we are only doing the transformation on those tables, right? That's
No,
what.
no.
I mean, on the data from that table.
There is another database already built by another team, right? There is a Kafka database built by, let's go to here. Okay. No, these are good questions, guys. This is very important, right? Now let's go here, right? The staging table DBT did not create it, right? The Kafka through Spark or Kafka direct connector, right? The staging tables Kafka is creating. DBT is not created. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Now,
So
right, and hold on. Then the DBT might be also creating some lookup tables in the staging table, right? So this database built by Kafka, this database built by S3, this database, some tables built by DBT, right? As a seed, number one run. Number two run, okay, the seed is done today, done. You're not going to run the DBT seed again anymore. End of the story. Tomorrow, right, you're going to run transformations. Tomorrow, you're going to run snapshot. Tomorrow, you run some freshness. Tomorrow, you run testing. Those are individual test cases, individual tasks, put it that way. Okay, now go ahead. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. So like what I'm trying to see the DBT as like I do the ETL part in any kind of ETL tool like Informatica, any other, even Snowflake. So the process starts from the staging area, which is the DBT. For the DBT, it starts accessing the tables from the staging. That's all, right?
No, DBT can read the data from. Now let's go back to here. Actually, maybe I should have added a line here. DBT can read data from S3, right? DBT again. This who loaded into S3? Somebody.
Some other.
Right? Yeah. So DBT can read, right? DBT can read within the domain of Snowflake. Which again, I'm reiterating the word within the domain of Snowflake. Right? DBT can read data from S3. DBT can read data from the Spark loaded into a table. DBT can read Mart table, DIMS table, all the. Let's say there is another super Mart. The super Mart, right, is reading data from here, and loading into the super Mart table within the Snowflake. DBT can do it. So what the DBT does is, read the data from staging, read the data from Mart, do the transformation, write into sales, write into DIMS. Then another DBT flow can combine all these into another super Mart. You can do that, but within the domain of Snowflake. But DBT cannot go to Kafka. What the Kafka does, DBT does not know how the files came into S3. And this Kafka may be your IoT. So Kafka may be your SQL Server CDC. Your Kafka may be something coming in from your towers. So I will tell you one use case. We get the so in one of the mutual use case we are doing, we receive data from Kafka. They store into a staging table. That's it. They have no clue what this staging table does. Who is using? When I ask the Kafka guys, do you know what this data we do? It has no clue. But the DBT guys knows what he is doing. Okay, go ahead, Jaswant.
So I'm trying to understand how this is different from like just like transformation process in any ETL tool like Ab initio, Informatica or anything. So they just access the staging. We don't know how that got populated. I don't care. So I just start the process from the staging to the whatever the tables that we are talking about.
So when Informatica and in all those things, you need a cluster, right? The Informatica, the Ab initio or data stage and all those things, it has its own cluster. It extracts the data, does the transformation, loads. That's all ETL, right? Then in the new era is, hey, I don't need a cluster anymore, right? My Snowflake itself is a cluster, right? My Snowflake itself can do transformations. It's a multi-use, right? That's a new so now ELT trend. So somehow extract to me, dump it to me. And then today, when your Ab initio has your own one way of transformation, your data stage or Golden Gate have different transformation. What we are doing is within the Snowflake domain, we are standardizing our transformations. I don't have to know how the Ab initio does. I don't have to know how the data stage does. Somehow extract to me, dump it to here, use the engine. So now we don't need an expensive cluster to extract the data. And then we are standardizing the transformation. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Yeah, I have one.
Hold on. Basically, there is the ETL team. Hey, I'm already extracting. I'm already doing transformation. Yes, but you are an Ab initio expert. Now, another team comes in within the company. There is a data stage expert. There is a Golden Gate experts and all the things. But now saying that, okay, guys, all you guys just dump the data in. Then we will take care of we will reduce the cluster sizes of these ETLs. Then we will standardize through DBT. And tomorrow, let's say I don't care about Snowflake. I want to move to the BigQuery. I want to move to then the DBT just switch over automatically. My transformation will take care. Yeah. Now go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, and like how do I understood, Satya, what this
there is a gray area.
for.
Definitely there is a gray area between ETL team, ELT teams, and this is that's why these guys are. Hey, now look at the yesterday I sent you, right? Did I send?
You sent me.
Steve Jobs always wears same dress, right? Data fatigue, right? Decision fatigue. Right now, DBT will eliminates that decision fatigue because should I use Ab initio, Golden Gate, or I don't care. Give me, I will do one way of standard ANSI transformation.
Yeah, and in this, how do we get the incremental data?
Yes, coming in. So my joke is always like this. I've been teaching for a long time. We are making gulab jam. It takes time to make the gulab jam. So we're right now in the early stage of making gulab jam. We will eat it. Okay. So we'll talk about fact tables. How do you do incremental, right? We will do type 2, which is my favorite, and we will do that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead. Jaswant.
My question was related to how do we do this incremental load? So I think
coming in. Okay. Next.
Follow-up question on that. So for the seed data, right now we are just selecting whatever is in the file, but in real time there could be an incremental data that I have added more files. So does DB2
no incremental? DBT is what you tell. DBT is a dog, right? You tell it will follow Steve. That's it. If you want to, next time when you run again, you add a new files, then rerun the seed. Seed is static anyhow, right? So rerun the seed. That's fine.
Okay.
I'll go and load it manually, right? Okay. Ram or Srija?
Yes, Satya. So because of transformation, right? Mostly, so DBT is SQL based. So is it fair to assume that it will support like standard OLAP functions like sum, min, max, average, count?
Everything, yeah.
Everything. Okay.
No lead, lag, or ANSI too.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Now they added Python. So 3 months back. right? It's still in preview. So you can do everything in Python. But I don't want to go with Python because SQL is very easy. Okay, because there is some people want love to Python, but whatever we do in here, then you can embed it Python. But yeah, it's ANSI 2, and yeah, you can have anything you want.
Go
for SQL. So SQL engineering converting into software engineering. That is the main thesis here. Okay, Srija, Sudha. Did I pronounce correctly? Sudha. Yeah, go ahead. You're on mute.
Yeah. How does DBT perform against the performance? In SQL, we had the always.
Sorry, you're breaking.
Is it clear now?
Yeah.
Yeah. In SQL world, Satya, we always see that if rows are less, then it performs very well. As the size increases, it starts breaking.
Right. DBT is a tool to build SQLs and deploy the SQLs into your Snowflake. Now the Snowflake take over, right?
Okay. So it's the underlying DB engine which will perform.
Basically, think about it, right? DBT giving you .SQL files to you. You log into Snowflake, you execute the .SQL files for it. Okay, but DBT knows the order, right? DBT create a SQL file based on your configuration, and it knows the order, it knows the DAGs and everything. Then it converts the SQL, it uses the reusable SQL, and it builds the entire 9-yard SQL, and you are deploying it into Snowflake. Now, when you are running Snowflake, and if you're depends on your Snowflake configuration, right? Now, let's say I want to run my fact table using Virtual Warehouse 2. I want to run my DIMS in Virtual Warehouse 3, or I want to run my Seeds Virtual Warehouse 4. You can configure that one. But that's a Snowflake problem, not DBT problem.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, good.
It's such a one generic question.
Mm-hmm.
So just by learning this DBT, can I get a job or a project? I know this guy can. You can answer this in the last class. Also.
I see DBT. Okay, yeah, I see DBT requirements, right? In the DICE, right? But only DBT, only needed tool. No, right? I mean, it's part of your. Let's say, hey, can I serve only one curry when you go to Kalyan Sapatu, right? No, right? Only one curry is not sufficient, right? They have multiple curries when you go to Kalyan Sapatu in restaurant, right? A thale. So same thing here. It's part of requirements in a lot of jobs, but definitely it adds higher value. I'm using the word higher value because if it does not add a higher value, why bother me teaching? Waste of my time, right? So I see for myself higher value. If I don't see a higher value for me, I don't teach. I don't even waste my time of spending learning things, right? So I learn, I'm implementing POC, and I'm teaching. So, but differently adds a higher value to your resume. That's all I can tell.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody questions? Okay, let's move on. Okay, next. These are the initial, the confusions. A lot of folks has DBT. Why DBT? We have ETL tool. A lot of does things. Yeah, there is a gap, and that's what people are inventing, right? If there is no gap, nobody invents. Okay, before let's complete the seed. Okay, so there are multiple ways to run the seed, and generally run the seeds. Right? Let's go to here, and before we do anything, I want to make sure my project is connecting to Snowflake. So what we do, DBT debug. Okay, you just run it. You need to make sure you need to go to the directory where your project is. Okay, because in the DBT debug, in this directory, it goes to the project.yaml file and connects to the profile and looks for the profile name, which is the whatever the profile name in my project, which is okay. Let's see, where is my project? So when they say DBT debug, it goes to project profile and looks for this name. Sorry, it goes to the project profile, looks for this name, and then does the connection to your end, your BigQuery or Snowflake or Databricks, and make sure that you have to have a connect. If this is failed, that means your DBT will not work. Okay. Next. Now my project setup is you build modules slowly, one after the other. We're going to keep testing it. You don't want to build a whole 9-yard test it because you go one by one. So now let's go to DBT seeds. Okay. Oh, sorry, seed. Now it provides the help. I don't want to remember all these commands because how many commands we can remember, right? Always Google uncle or Google auntie, whichever you call, we will get help from them. So now let's look at what it is doing here, right? So it goes to the seeds directory, right? It goes to the seeds directory. Then look at it creates a table, raw country code. Now look at this one. I did not specify. I said only DBT seed, right? But if I do target dev, then it goes to my profile, looks for dev. Now if I have a prod, then it looks for prod. If I don't define anything, the default is dev. That's what we did, what we said here. Okay. That's what the connection verified, the default. Okay. So target, okay, dev, which is same as not providing this one. But if you want to execute your DBT seeds, then you have to give. So now when you test in dev, when you migrate this code into prod, then somebody executing. Who is somebody? Your Airflow or some scheduler, someone is executing manually. Then they have to give prod. Okay, so it's part of your CI/CD pipeline configuration. When you deploy it, then this is executed through Airflow or some mechanism, some shell script. Then you have to define where do you want to execute. That is important. This is how the target comes into picture. Okay, let's go here. This is the target. Okay, so your project, right, and then target. Okay, if you don't define, then this is a default target. The default target means dev. Dev means this is configuration.
There was an error, right? So where are we specifying the table name so that it's saying that Ambari DB, the table does not exist?
The hold on, that errors will come back, right? This is, ignore that one. I had error in my configuration. This, okay, but right now look for these.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Look at this one. I did not have authorization issue, which is fine. That is nothing. But look for this one, right? Now let's go back to my database. Okay.
No, sir. My question is generic. Basically, if that seed is reading the data from CSV and inserting into some table somewhere, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Got it.
Reuse the word correctly, right? Seed reading the data from CSV files, right? And seed creating the same file. Okay, seed is reading this CSV file and seed creating same country underscore code table with these columns. So there is no word sum table. Seed, okay, you have to use the word correctly, right? Seed reads this CSV file and seed creates this same CSV file name as a table name. And then in the properties, if you define saying that, okay, my country code, I want the columns, right? Whatever the columns names in my CSV file, then I want them as a string, or you can define your data types or varchar, whatever. Then the seed, what it does is it creates the country code table, and in this schema, in these data types, and goes to this file, reads any data, inserts into. Let's, for example, look at this one, Snowflake country, right? It creates a table with Snowflake underscore contract underscore rates with these two columns, And did I define the data types? Okay. So I did not define the data types. Then what it does is, it creates a string values and inserts these two rows. Now let's look at that. Okay. So seed reads the file, and the file name is your table name, and the header of the file is your column names. Then if you define the data types, it will use the data types. Otherwise, it is going to create as a string.
Got it.
Okay.
Basically, the CSV is becoming a table, actually. Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So very careful. There is no sum table. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go to here, refresh. Then look at my raw. Then it create my country code and events table. Right. Now look at so now look at my events table. It's created an event table. There's no data because I created an empty event table. But look at my Snowflake contracts. Now it's created a Snowflake contract with one row. Okay. Now let's say, sometimes you want to drop you want to do some cleanup, right? And then you do -- full refresh, right? It does, what it does, it drops the whole table, and let's say you add a new column, or then you rerun -- full refresh, which is fine. Okay, so that's what the DBT seeds does. Now, right? Now the beauty of DBT coming into picture. Now there is another table query I want to build, right? And let's go here, right? Now I have my orders table, right? Sorry, now where is my seed? Country code, right? I don't care what the country code built, how they built, and all that stuff, right? But I know there is a country code table, right? Now I can refer, for example, if you look at here, there is a taxi zone lookup, okay? Taxi zone lookup.csv. Now I can refer the taxi zone lookup, right, in another select statement. So it's called, we'll come back to the Ninja code later. So, but right now, stay focused on the seeds. Any questions on the seed?
Satya, one question here. So once the table is created in Snowflake after running the seed command, so will it allow us to alter the table? So if in case if there any need?
Yeah, you can. The DBT is basically nothing but creating a standard SQL files for you. Let's go to DBT. Now let's go to here. Hopefully I can show that target, right? And target, run, compile, not compile. I didn't do compile yet. Result no. Yeah, I'll talk that one later. I was thinking something. Yeah, you can, once the table is there, DBT has nothing, no relation, right? Think about you created yourself. DBT is a helper tool for you to do a lot of automation of your SQL builder. Put it that way. Yeah, once the table is there, you right now I can delete, I can drop this table, right? DBT doesn't care. DBT, it connects, deploys your SQL, disconnected. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So any questions on the seed?
Yeah, Satya. So I think this is coming back to my previous question, the incremental. So is that, looks like the default behavior of DBT is to do an incremental load, right? So what I mean by that is, let's say initially we have in a country code table, we have 10 records, 10 entries. Now we are adding 10 more entries, and when we are running the seed, it is just adding loading into the target country code table only those 10 records. It's not doing a full refresh unless we issue the DB2 full refresh command.
Yeah, don't stuck on the seeds. Seeds is a lookup tables data. That's about it, right? Don't go to incremental and all the things. Actually, I should not be even bringing the seeds first. I should have been, right? But think about seeds is for you to build a lookup data, static lookup data. That's it. Remove all the word incremental. We'll come back to incremental later. Seeds is, I want to build some lookup data, my dim dates or my dim products and some dim countries, something like that. Or I want to do some testing. Those kind of those things. But the majority of the time in your production projects, you may not be using seeds, right? Until unless you want to build a star schema, you want to have some static table. So in my current project, we don't use seeds because there is no need of writing a seed requirement. They already have some stored procedure. They have some requirements to build the dim dates and dim products and automatically. So there's no need of seeds. Seeds nice to have to build, to load some static data for testing or lookup tables. So remove the word incremental, all those things for now. Yeah.
Got it. I mean, I understand the intent of seed, but I'm just trying to understand how the DBT tackles the load when it is.
Yeah. Okay. So let's try. Now you have a DBT. Try it. How you want to try different changes and all that stuff. If you want to add a new column, how the DBT does, right? But don't spend too much time on the seeds. There is real meat in the other areas. Okay. But yeah, how go for it. Yeah. But right now, seeds, think about, hey, I have a static data, and how often I run you don't run the static seeds every day. Once in a blue moon, right? You're done, right? Then then let's say your table allows you duplicates, seeds will do duplicates. Seeds doesn't until unless you have a test case. Seed is just do inserts. Seed doesn't know how should I prevent when if you run again, then it depends on how is the permanent table and all the stuff. Seeds may drop and recreate the table, or depends on the view, right? But seed doesn't insist your primary keys, insist primary foreign keys. Your DBT, your database has to insist. Okay, so stay on that way.
Satya, here one more question here. Like currently, we are loading the data from the Excel sheet CSV, but in case of any scenarios, like can we point the source to any other database instead of CSV?
No. I'm reiterating again and again, right? DBT is not an extract tool.
Got it. Sorry.
Whatever you have in this project, or whatever your Snowflake can does. For example, your Snowflake can read data from S3, right? Then you can tell from DBT, you can tell to Snowflake, hey, read data from S3.
Okay, got it.
But DBT doesn't do anything.
Okay,
yeah.
Understand.